So first, a little background. I went to a fairly large middle school that had kids from at least 3 cities in the area going to it. From there, I went to a small high school with maybe 300 kids total. My high school was a highly competitive charter school located in the mountains and surrounded by several acres of woods. I met this guy Sam in middle school but didn't really interact with him much. It was more one of those friend of my friend things. Fast forward to sophomore year of high school. Sam transfers into my high school. My high school did block schedules, so we had 4 classes and sort of a study/homeroom class in the middle of the day. Sam transferred partway through sophomore year. I don't really know how this happened, but he ended up in 4 of my 5 classes. At this time, I had established a bit of a reputation at the school for being a helpful and good student. So when Sam transferred and seemed to be having a tough time, I was asked to sort of take him under my wing and help him out. Boy, do I regret doing that. One of the classes we had together was a history class that I also had with one of my best friends. Despite her protest, my teacher made the 2 of us work with Sam on all of our group projects. Sam was already kind of creepy with me, even though he has only been at the school for less than a week. When we started working together, he would sit uncomfortably close to me, and at first he wouldn't say much, but as he got up more courage, he started talking to me. At first it was normal stuff. I had an older boyfriend at the time who was in the Air Force and stationed in Japan. I know that sounds like one of those lies high school girls make to get creepy guys off their back, but this was true. We were childhood friends and had started dating shortly before he enlisted, so I made sure Sam knew I wasn't looking for anything more than a friend. But it didn't take long before he started flirting with me. His flirting quickly escalated from comments asking if my boyfriend Alex was real, to trying to steal the virginity ring I wore every day off my finger, and joking that one day it wouldn't be the only ring he was stealing. I freaked out, but I figured that there was not much he could do since we only saw each other at school and he had no clue where I lived. Back when I was in high school, the chat that's part of Gmail, now called Google Hangouts, was like the AIM messenger of the time, so everyone used it, and there were several group chats that I was part of. For my school that used personal email addresses rather than our school Gmails, Sam got my email address. He started sending me creepy, sexually explicit emails of the things he dreamed about. I won't share the ones I still have saved, but they were gross, especially to a Christian virgin girl. He often had some part about me moaning how I loved him, not Alex, over and over again. Eventually, it got so bad that one of my friends reported what was happening to the school administration. They basically sent out an email to the entire school administration that Sam wasn't allowed to communicate with me at school. This freed me from everything, but the creepy sex emails that came on a weekly basis, at least until the end of the year. Sam was keeping his distance, but we had a class together, so he started interacting in a minimum level. Junior year, I mostly just ignored him and hung out with my friends. Senior year is when things started getting really bad again, and I didn't realize how bad they'd actually been in my junior year until this point. We both took advanced martial arts as an elective class that year, which meant not only did we have to talk, we actually had to spar and train together. The worst thing about this is that my high school gym was about a 3 to 5 minute walk from the rest of our campus, and you'd have to walk through a trail in the woods. I mentioned earlier that Sam would wait for me every morning at the top of the trail before school, and at the bottom of the trail after class, just so that he could walk with me, although he usually walked a good 5 feet behind me and didn't talk to me. At this point, my long-distance relationship was beginning to fall apart, and Sam saw this as his opportunity. He started telling me stuff about how I was his soulmate, and I just didn't want to see it. He also told me that he had drawn up some sort of rune, eternally bonded our souls. Don't ask me what that's supposed to mean. Sam was in all sorts of Wicca, dream walking, and other magic stuff that I wrote off as stupid jokes. As we came up on the end of our senior year, some teachers started asking me about essays and short stories and poems that I'd written and turned in during earlier years. I eventually found out that Sam had been taking my old writing out of the trash at the end of each year, when I cleaned out my locker and threw out all the old assignments I no longer cared about, and turning them back in as his own work. I insisted I knew nothing about it, and my school decided to search his locker. The thing was like a crazy shrine to me. He had piles of my old homework and assignments that I had thrown out, and 4 or 5 composition notebooks I used to keep as diaries or poetry journals that I'd assumed I'd just lost at some point. The school assumed he was simply keeping my work in hopes of turning it back in and getting better grades so he could actually graduate, but it felt really creepy to me. The school took all of my old work and made me take it home, suggesting I not throw away old assignments at school or I would get in trouble for letting him copy me. The thing is, the other thing they found in his locker that they did not care about, but I did, was several word magnets that my friends and I had made to leave notes in each other's lockers. I know that they were the ones out of my locker, which meant he also knew my combination. A few weeks after they raided his locker, I was getting changed back to my regular clothes after martial arts class, and discovered that my bra and my extra workout shirt were missing out of my locker. I reported it to the school, but nothing ever came of that. I'm fairly sure Sam stole them, but I've never been able to prove that. After that, he stopped talking to me for the most part. I had a new boyfriend who actually went to our school for the last 2 months of senior year, and Sam was terrified of him. The only thing that happened was a bunch of composition notebooks that I'd completely filled with quotes and poems I found and liked, and a bunch of original poems I wrote went missing, and occasionally the magnets and other things in my locker seemed to magically rearrange themselves in ways that did not make any sense. Some of my friends knew my combination, and although they swore they never touched my stuff, I figured it was just them trying to be funny. After graduation, I figured I was finally free of Sam. Instead, he started more legitimately stalking me after this. At first, it was just emails from accounts I didn't recognize, asking me for things that didn't make sense. I marked all these spam and ignored them. Then he made an account under the name of one of my former friends from high school. I thought it was actually my friend Becca emailing me, so I responded. We carried on a pretty normal email conversation for a few weeks, and then she got weird. She and I started talking about relationships and things like that, so she knew I had a boyfriend. She started asking me to send her nudes and insisting that if I didn't, she would hurt herself or try kill herself. She used to send me pictures of the deep cuts on her arms, and even counted off pills she took when I refused to do what she asked me to. Becca had told me she was living somewhere in Colorado, so I was pretty sure I couldn't call anyone and say someone I knew was threatening to kill themselves. I'm not proud of what I did or that I fell for Sam's games, but what I did was out of the fear for being responsible for someone's death. This went on for several months until I finally got tired of it and actually deleted my email address. Things were quite quiet for there as I started my first year of college. However, I soon found out from a friend of mine that Sam was attending the community college that is within walking distance of the college I was attending. I didn't think Sam knew where I was going to college, so I figured I'd be fine, and I was for about the first month. Sam started showing up to outside my classes. At first, he would walk and just stand in the sea of people leaving my class until he knew I saw him. Then he would walk away. This started to really freak me out, and at the time I had no friends at the college and no boyfriend to intimidate Sam. After a few weeks, I started getting emails to my college email address. They always came from different email addresses and had no subject, and always 4 attachments. They're always of me somewhere on campus, eating, in class, headed to class, heading to my car, and even photos of me heading to the bathroom. I reported everything to campus police, but they told me that unless I could prove who was stalking me, there was really not much they could do about it. I established the habit of getting on and off campus as soon as possible, and not talking or interacting with anyone. After my first semester and Christmas break, things calmed down for a while, and I started to try and make friends. I started working in a store in my local mall, and hadn't heard from Sam or Becca in several months. Sam started showing up at my work in January. I worked in a home decor store, so the store had a pretty narrow walkways between displays, and it was next to impossible to notice someone coming up behind you, and the cameras in half the store were dead. At first he would just wander around and ask if I was working. He might do something like break something in a section of the store, which one of my co-workers actually saw him do a few times. I worked on a rotating schedule, so I worked on different times and different days each week, so he couldn't just wait for me to show up. If he went to the store and I wasn't there, he would ask when I was working, claiming to be my boyfriend. After 2 or 3 times of my managers and co-workers asking me why my boyfriend had come in and asked for my schedule, I found out that it was Sam. I explained the whole situation to my managers, and they let everyone know that if Sam showed up while I was working, they had to alert the manager and me so that I could stay in the back. They were also told to tell Sam that I no longer worked there, in hopes that he would stop. I took my manager threatening to call more security for him to finally stop coming around my work. After that, he went quiet again for almost a year, before popping up on my social media again last year. He claimed that he had changed and wanted a second chance. Me being the stupid person that I am and always wanting to give the people the benefit of the doubt and only see the best, started to rebuild a friendship with him. At this point I was actually single, but now trying to build a solid real friendship with the guy I had a thing for a really long time, who is now my fiancé. It was only a week into us talking before he started being really creepy again, and begging for nudes and sending me messages, like the sex emails he used to send me in high school. My fiancé, then my best friend, although he asked me out within a couple of weeks of this, signed into my account on Snapchat and basically ranted at this guy telling him to leave his girlfriend alone. And the next inappropriate message he would send would mean my boyfriend immediately blocked his account and would never speak to me again. After that, I tried to put some distance between us, although I tried to be friendly and answered when he talked to me. After a couple of months of this, Becca made a reappearance. She started talking to me on Instagram as someone completely different. We talked for a couple of weeks before she started sending me messages that made it really clear it was really Sam. My fiancé and I have a theory that Sam decided to bring Becca back as a way to attempt to make me dependent on Sam again. She went back to her old tricks with those self-harm and suicide threats. Except this time, Sam used a time photos thing on Instagram and his little sister to really add a punch to it and make me truly believe she was trying to hurt or kill herself. I knew who she was and that she was lying. She threatened to blackmail me with the old images I'd sent her way back in the first year of college if I didn't send her more. Instead, I told my boyfriend, and he used his tech nerdiness to check out the metadata on her photos and discover there were screenshots from some other account, and this person had actually lived in the same state as us. We reported Becca to both Instagram and our local police, and I spoke with a lawyer friend of mine about the things she had said, and then blocked both Becca and Sam. The only thing that's happened since then is a few accounts have popped up on Facebook using my images, both the appropriate and explicit ones, claiming to be me. My fiancé has a search algorithm set to find them. Although as one comes up, it's down before either of us gets a chance to report it. It doesn't happen consistently, and entire months go between incidents, but honestly I wish it would just stop already.